well. So really limited in options to answer this. We'll see what they have up their sleeve.
Yeah, it makes sense that Ultra Prime at the very least have banned away the Kalista. Doggo's last series, it was a big pick for him, but moving on to further 80 carries, the Ezreal, something we have seen today. Aux, we are going to go the safer route. And it's just a question as to what Chris wants to do. It's an enchanter with the Karma instead of something like the Brom, so trying to outpoke the lane.
I do think that Crisp is someone I trust to play enchanters when we're talking about people who would be proficient on them coming in. I feel like Hung, Crisp, Mako are really the players who I expect to have that proficiency. But you are playing that Lucian Nami. You gave it over. Ezreal Karma, obviously a very poke-heavy lane. We saw EDG play a lot in spring, looking to harass and chunk out your opponents. It will be able to contest prior against that Lucian Nami, but Lucian Nami spikes very hard at the one item spike. Now we see Hackett take the Lee Sin with Wukong and Viego being banned away. The priority shifts up, and the question is, what will they take on the side of BLG? I really like the Gwen, by the way. Going into second rotation, no opportunity for Ultra Prime to counter. And I think everyone saw what Bin did with Gwen in the MSI finals. Wasn't too long ago.
True. Very, very true. One of the good Gwen players. And, you know, for the LPL, still such a solid pick. As we go on to the second stage, though, remind me a little bit about what we look towards in the mid lane. We're talking about Cryin and FoFo. We're also talking about some control mage options for FoFo that are quite viable at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, is that we saw the Galio for FoFo in that previous series. I don't really like that. And I feel like here, you know, you have the scaling top lane. Bot lane wants to find Prio. I think you want Prio yourself in the mid lane, but there's a lot of picks that can do that and scale up. And you can see BLG, they're comfortable just banning away tops that are going to be answered into the Gwen. We can see the Kale possibly come out as a ban. Jax is something that I know Bin would probably pick into Gwen, but it depends whether they feel like Zoom will be willing to bring that one out.
Well,
but Ari banned away by Ultra Prime, something we have seen Proud quite heavily. Bear in mind, Taliyah, Swain, both open and available, and one of those will get through.
I will say, Aux, how do you, or at least ask you, how do you feel about Nasus into Gwen? You know, is that on the tip of your mind, or are we going too far? No?
Probably not. I don't. I think it was specifically a Kale thing,
Okay.
specifically a Cube thing. I would love to see it, but I don't think it's going to be the case.
Worth asking always, just throw a little bit of I guess BS in there for somewhat. Galio gets banned away at the very least, so we won't see FoFo or Cryin on it this time around. Note that Zoom picked up the Nara in the last series too, so makes sense it's going to be banned against him. Twisted Fate against FoFo too for a bit of presence, so we aren't getting any of those semi-globals. Well, now we have to answer that question, what they do, and the Swain, which we didn't see the last series, is just going to be picked up like that.
Instantly taken, and as well with the Karma, movement speed a massive factor for the Swain, getting a range of your targets. It's quite a short range comp for Ultra Prime so far. Swain, a lot of value there. I will say that we see the globals banned away. Cryin, a player who's famous for being not the most present in mid. Like, these are kind of polar opposites. Cryin is not the best laner, but very active on the map at roaming was what he was known for on things like the TF. FoFo, very inactive on the map, very much leans on being a lane presence. So Taliyah could work for Cryin, but for now they'll lock in that Kennen. It is the counter we saw quite a bit in spring, specifically picked into the Gwen. Strong laning phase and powerful in team fights. And now the question is, what will Cryin take into the Swain?
It's 0-3, by the way. Zoom is going to have to try and get the first win for Kennen this split. Hasn't won a single game in the LPL so far, so a lot riding on his shoulders as Cryin returns back to the Taliyah. Let's look on the other side quickly, because we need a jungler. Jungle last pick for WeiWei, and he was hovering the volley bear a little bit before, which I'm sure gives a bit of deja vu for Bin from MSI, and probably a bit traumatic and tender at this point. So going a different direction is WeiWei, trying to match nicely into this Lee Sin, but yeah,
I think the Graves is fine. You definitely need AD in your composition. Your only AD before that was Ezreal. Obviously does a bit of magic damage as well himself, but you have double AP solo laners, so big AD threat like Graves can do a lot of value. You won't have as much activity, right? I think the big thing with the Taliyah Lee Sin is the Taliyah is good at finding Prio in the mid lane, especially to the Swain early when his Q cooldown's a bit longer. You also have that roamer potential at 6. Obviously, FoFo can match with the W, but again, he's not the most active mover. So that's the window for Ultra Prime, is you get your mid jungle ahead, you look to make plays around bot lane, have Elk and ShiauC take over on the Nami Lucian, and then you look for Zeem to be that team fight presence who should have a good lane matchup into Bin. Whereas on the other side, I feel like the team fight is quite powerful for the side of of BLG, and they have a lot of champions that are going to scale well in the late stages. So definitely feels like more agency for Ultra Prime, but a need to use that agency. And honestly, considering what we saw from BLG in spring, this feels quite on theme.
Yeah, again, you know, bit slow as Zeddy wins a race. BLG were a team that we often talked about them when maybe not being as proactive. I think that's the basics of it, but at the very least, BLG getting towards that team fighting condition. Yeah, you're right. On brand, absolutely. So as we go into this first game, just a quick reminder that, you know, BLG haven't picked up their first win yet. Ultra Prime, a 1-0. They beat OMG and in pretty convincing fashion. So, you know, Ultra Prime on a bit of a high, but more importantly, the addition of Zoom seems like it's added a lot of texture to this team that in the past, I would say, top was their weakest role. Last split, ZS, yeah, a little bit disappointing and hasn't really been the greatest top laner. So curious to see what happens in this one, Aux, as we run on in to Summoner's Rift for the last time, well, last series for tonight. And, you know, Zoom pulling out the Kennen. It's 0-3, as I said before, so best of luck.
Yeah, it is a good matchup, though, and I expect to see him applying a lot of pressure. What I do love is an adaptation we kind of saw in MSI, the double exhaust, because I remember specifically Zeus bringing out the Kennen into the Gwen of Bin, and they ran that double exhaust, so Bin himself has one. In this composition, the Ghost isn't as needed. You're not really going to struggle too much to get onto your targets, but importantly, you're basically always going to have an exhaust rotate on Kennen, and it just kind of makes the champion so subdued, trimming out that damage when his ultimate is down, and on top of that, with a durability change, Kennen will really struggle to make an impact in these team fights. So I'm going to be honest, I feel like BLG have quite an advantage here. It really comes down to Elk and ShiauC, these two who have been so pivotal for this team. If they can get ahead on the Lucian Nami, it could definitely take over the game. And for now, we see a bit of an invade coming in from BLG. They have been spotted, but that won't stop them from going for the play.
Yeah, it's going to commit. And for now, we'll see if Hacker decides to go cross-map and start the vertical jungle. WeiWei left to his own devices at the red buff, and Doggo and Chris come back early. So talked about Elk and ShiauC being the priority. And just quickly, you know, Lucian Nami hasn't been the most successful thing in the LPL Aux.
Yeah, I think the thing with Lucian Nami is you kind of want to... It's so oppressive in lane with the trading windows. You're very bursty, a lot of power there. But it does have like a burden of execution. You can definitely mess up on these picks. If you dash in at the wrong time and get locked into an all-in, you do kind of run out of damage because you have quite long cooldowns between both you. Like, you can definitely chunk someone out, but you want to take those short bursty trades. And you... Oh, might see a bit of action come out here, but looks like Cryin gets away, so I'll forget about that. But yeah, so definitely Lucian Nami isn't just like you pick it and you auto win. But in the right hands, we've seen this being absolutely unstoppable. And there's a reason it was so heavily banned at MSI.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll see if Elk can hold up to that. For now, BLG had the push in the bottom lane, though. Note the CS differential with the wave pulling up. Elk struggling to get nearby with Crisp and Doggo hitting level 2 first and abusing themselves in the 2v2. I think Doggo and Crisp have been exceptionally well prepared in the 2v2s so far, but I might have to eat my own words because this is way push up. Hacker's getting behind them, and it feels like someone's about to die. Ignite Flash, Sonic Wave dodge, but Doggo's going to be Tempest and then crippled. He's not getting away with no summoners left in the tank, and now it's on to Crisp after the first blood goes to Ultra Prime. Too deep at the wrong time, and Ultra Prime snap.
And this feels like such a Hacker play, super aggressive early. I think the expectation from BLG, and I'll hold that thought as we might get more of action here.
A nice E from ShiauC as well. Damage massive, but Hacker's just run into a mid laner who's waiting for him. Now onto Cryin as well. I mean, I'm not sure what they expected. Knowing FoFo's there, the flash burnt, end of the line on Cryin. Flash from Chris, Ignite down, beautiful from BLG, but Ultra Prime went from great to what the heck was that?
Oh my lord. Okay, let's sort of break this down. So I think BLG's expectation was you go for a map split, Hacker should go into WeiWei's top side and steal away his red, and then with that map split, Doggo and Chris were free to push. Hacker did something unexpected, which is kind of on brand for him. We've seen him do plays like this before, flashing over walls. And you see he actually circumvents the ward to make his way in here so we can get this gank off. This completely caught BLG's bot lane off guard. And honestly, was a great job of disrupting the strong level 1 push Doggo and Crisp had. Now, what happened after that was Hacker just ran it down. And I'm not really sure why, but that's how we got to where we are here. And WeiWei is now 2-0 on this Graves.
It's such an intelligent play. you know, dodging the ward, thinking ahead. And then he goes to jump on in when FoFo is obviously hitting around the wing. Cryin's probably like, don't go there. Don't go there.
Don't do that.
There. And yeah, you're right. Like the 2-0 Graves, that hurts because WeiWei now has a serrated Dirk with an extra longsword. He has Bounty. He's got a CS lead. This Graves has been given the early game on a platter and a nice, I guess, treadmill to continue cutting all the fat and losing the weight towards an easy mid game.
And that's the problem. If you get ahead in a champion like Graves, like the extra damage will mean you clear the jungle so much faster. He's already a fast clearer, but he will just be bursting through camps. So now WeiWei's just going to have so much more momentum. He's going to be faster than you on the map. Hacker's going to be trying to clear and taking more time. You can see he's spotted out here. And WeiWei will just speed through these camps. Both junglers had like 20 CS a second ago, and WeiWei is just like sped ahead so quickly. And as well, he can also go towards that Umbral Glaive first if he wants the extra vision control, so he can just knock out wards, make it really hard to contest. I can't emphasize enough how stellar this is for BLG, and I think it feels rougher because Ultra Prime had that good early play. But I will say that bot lane has stabilized now. Level 3 for Lucian Nami is really where you're enabled, and they are starting to trade a bit more frequently into BLG's bot lane. I
mean, let's also bring up what you said in draft. You said that Ultra Prime, you know, on a bit of a timer here. Lucian, Nami, Taliyah, there's good seismic shoving. Maybe the timer won't matter. That's great from ShiauC. Acro Prison gives a kill over to Cryin, and just as I was saying, they need to get things going. Hacker redeems himself with his support.
Yeah, fantastic roam there. And now Ultra Prime kind of have free reign. Enemy mid is down, and they have the wall from the Taliyah, so they can very aggressively play in the jungle. This is the difference, because now, Hacker, this is the correct play. You can play aggressive here, because you have backup from your team. We do see BLG's bot lane will just ward them off. Dragon not going to be on the cards as FoFo does TP back in. And something to mention is that, like, if you get trapped into a scenario where you can't get away, this Swain will really flourish.
He really will. It takes his first death, but going Imperial Mandate build, by the way, just worth mentioning, is we have seen both of the Andrews coming out from people like Care and FPX. WeiWei getting spotted, or at least by us for the time being, not by Ultra Prime. Elk flashes away. This Lucian Nami lane might have a kill, but it is not getting a reprieve anytime soon.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you dash into trade as Lucian, your cooldowns are long. Even with the autos trying to reduce the cooldown of your your E, it's not enough in the early game to be able to dash out again. So ends up having to flash away from the route from Chris because WeiWei is there. And BLG will use that pressure to steal away this red. As I kind of said, the CS was quite close between junglers. Look how far ahead WeiWei is now. He's just bursting camps, and now they're looking.
They're just going to go again. Smoke screen slows it down. End of the line is going to hurt so much. Collateral damage! Oh my god, it's like when Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 1 says he'll be back. He rams the car forward, and you remember him.
Yeah, collateral damage with damage in all caps. That was so much burst, and, you know, we talked about the durability changes, how it helps enchanters out. He needed like another whole durability patch to survive that one. We just saw ShiauC absolutely destroyed off the rift, and this Graves started to become a problem. Hasn't gone for the Umbral Glaive, wants the bigger power spike. And I think that's a scary thing, is sometimes you see Graves go Umbral Glaive because it's an early rush. You finish it quickly. This is a pre-8-minute Eclipse, right? This is normally, like, most Graves probably haven't even finished the Umbral Glaive at this point, maybe in a standard game. He's already finished that Mythic. WeiWei is going to be so incredibly strong, and you can see they're trying to set up a trap for him.
But,
you connect.
Yeah, okay, good kickback as well. Seismic shot flash away from WeiWei, trying to buy his time. He's out. Ultra Prime used so much for that. Now FoFo's here with a demonic ascension running him forward. Ultra Prime might have 4 members, but BLG have taken the health out of them and chunked them. However, they're still going to stick on the Herald for now, with WeiWei trying to heal up in the meantime.
Yeah, so jungler knocked away is probably going to be enough to force BLG from this. Actually, WeiWei's healed up and he's coming back. They might want to fight this still.
Stop Bin's backing as well. So with WeiWei rolling on down, remember that Eclipse is scary. The Herald about to reset and it's running back in. BLG have priority over the river, and Ultra Prime, their health bar still sticks. We got Elk on the backside as well, trying to come on in, but he doesn't have an angle, and now Zoom's left on his lonesome with BLG continuing to be the alphas of this game one.
No smite now for Hacky. Smite for health on the blue buff. And it is going to be secured by BLG. Ultra Prime, they have to secure the blue to get mana back for Cryin. He was starting to run and they just couldn't continue. And as much as there was no kills there, BLG got 3 flashes from Ultra Prime. Hacker, Cryin, and ShiauC all flashed there. So definitely windows to play around that. Now, Zoom doing a good job of zoning away Bin. Big wave, and all 4 members of the team gonna...
Vision.
Oh, no, Bin.
No vision. He's walking in blind, and Ultra Prime caught him pants down. Nice deep play here from UP, and it feels like Bin tried to play it safe, but they just wouldn't let him.
Yeah, so missing a bunch of this wave, losing plates to Zoom, and if you look on the other side of the map, BLG weren't in really position to capitalize. They will now go to this dragon and secure it, but they were kind of just moving their way towards the bot side, so really awkward time for Bin to die. He will lose a lot of that. He will TP in to pick up the rest of the wave. Now looking for Cryin. No flash, remember.
He'll be slowed down. The never move about to come through as well. Golden for the nick of time, but unfortunately he'll have none of that as FoFo catches him. And WeiWei gets the kill. Again, this Grave soaring ahead, and just your luck when he picks up more gold value.
Oh, I mean, he is so strong. Has the free boots as well, so really getting just the lion's share of the gold in this game. Got a Herald mid, and actually, with taking out Cryin, they can get a decent amount of plates here. They can definitely get one free. We'll see if they go for more. Oh,
Crispus just caught out, backing away. Culling going to be used. Elk needs to get forward, but he doesn't get the damage down.
Oh, culling an awkward direction. The flash from Crisp, not ideal, doesn't go over the wall, but it's enough to get him to safety. Crisp nearly picked out there. I will say, though, to be fair, for Crisp, has had a pretty solid game with those roams towards mid, making things happen. We talked how FoFo isn't exactly the most proactive moving from mid, but BLG this game have been going there to make things happen, really punishing Cryin and not letting him get that Weaver's wall out.
Okay, replay time. Let's watch this again, because Crisp was caught out backing on a ward. Not even a ward, just caught out.
Thing is, they had vision, right? They saw, because the ward was being cleared, it obviously gives vision. They should have seen that, you know, this was a dangerous spot to recall. Crisp's a bit greedy, but only loses his flash. Very lucky. That was a durability change, right? Before the changes come in, he would have definitely died there.
True. There's been a lot of times you've said that today. This is a durability change. It would have died there, would have survived there. Aux, I feel like the durability patch has hit you deep. Fair enough.
It has.
It's literally like the biggest patch since
every time I'm playing solo queue and someone lives on like 50 HP or anything, anytime anything happens, I'm like, durability changes, man. Seriously. You know, lose a 1v1, these durability changes. Fail an all in, durability changes. Die to a jungler's gank, durability changes every single time.
Good.
My top lane is 0-9, durability changes.
It's changed so much, and honestly, you're right. The damage would have come through. Elk would have had a better time, but surviving just puts salt in the wound once again. Nice little smite here from Hacker to steal away the red wall. WeiWei, who's 2 levels up, by the way, continues to be a nuisance. He's got another serrated Dirk. He's walking around like the rift belongs to him, and frankly, that's because it does. Now FoFo's getting here as well. ShiauC takes 3 shots to the face and is dead. Collateral damage helped out with a bit of healing, but Elk will not survive this with the Herald behind him and this Lucian getting scared. Smoke screen to secure. Give him all the gold, flushing from the seismic shove. WeiWei absolutely insane. And this Mafia Graves in control of all of his boys.
Oh man, what a performance from WeiWei, styling on Hacker this game. I said though, getting ahead with the items on this Graves would make it so easy to build up a lead. Look at the CS difference in this game. Oh, Doggo, an arcane shift away. Sonic Wave won't land,
no, Hacker doesn't think he's still here. He doesn't know that he's still there. Used the kick away. WeiWei spotted, and suddenly Hacker's like, oh god.
Yeah, really wanted to get away from that one. And honestly, WeiWei might have enough gold just to pick up. Yeah, look, 1800. He can pick up a second item. And Hacker, I don't know if he's finished his Gore Drinker yet. He might have just finished it. We'll see when it comes. Yeah, he's just finished his Gore Drinker, and WeiWei has finished his second item and got boots. This is such a massive difference in terms of gold. Kind of painful for BLG. I mean, sorry, for Ultra Prime. BLG are loving this, though.
Yeah, they are. I mean, BLG with a 3k gold lead just about. And you were talking a little bit before about what they got in the topside play when they got bin. It was easily reversed. It returned back around because WeiWei is still so much. Yes, it's so much bigger. Even bottom lane orcs, like Doggo is massive with the Trinity Force. He's got a bit of a CS lead himself. And Crisp has been moving around this map because he's got an Ezreal 80 carry. So we can talk about that in a bit. Until then, let's look at this absolute obliteration.
My favorite bit is WeiWei throwing the Coke can at Elk's head to finish him off here with the Dark Harvest. Watch this. Yeah. Just boom, boom, right in the head. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, look at the fade
it's the best way to kill someone in Graves.
True.
Most disrespectful, honestly.
Oh, man, he's been disrespecting them the whole game long. I'm waiting for WeiWei to, you know, go for his next play because, honestly, at this point, Ultra Prime lacking in a lot of the vision in the river. Hacker now on the top side getting something back, but although they're attacking that lane, look, Elk has moved out, but he's got a shield, and Crisp is standing by his new AD carry, pretty much the respected mafioso.
Yeah, I mean, he is really got to be respected by Ultra Prime. Anytime he shows up, you know you don't want to be there. You want to be caught by him. He will just destroy you. And we see Ultra Prime manage to get the tower top lane, even going for the second Herald, but will be losing a lot on the bot side. Dragon as well going to be picked up by BLG. Quite a late second Dragon compared to some of the early ones we've seen. But bear in mind, it's an Ocean and a Cloud Dragons. This Soul, oh my, of course it is. Infernal Soul. If Graves gets this, I feel like QR will be enough to blow up ShiauC, honestly. Might even be at this point, let's be honest. But yeah. And I think we go back to the start of the game. We set expectations. Ultra Prime, they had a more active mid-jungle. They had a top lane winning matchup who is 3 CS up. They had a bot lane who we wanted to see the team play around, try and set them up, get the momentum, and that hasn't come to fruition. It's a 2k goal lead for BLG. They're ahead in terms of those dragons as well. Graves is super strong. We have the Imperial mandate completed on the Swain to give him even more damage, essentially, and things are looking like a bit of a disaster for Ultra Prime.
And you have an Enchanter support who's come through at a pretty decent rate alongside Doggo. So with this team, you know, Infinite Shield is coming up, and WeiWei's going to absolutely love it. So at this point, Aux, it's hard to see how Ultra Prime, even only being 3k gold down, have contribution in this game. They're going to try with the TP play. This is the Hail Mary here as FoFo sticks around with the Imperial Mandate. He's confident. The wall great onto WeiWei. He collateral damages over, but FoFo wants to re-engage. BLG stick around in the mid lane and Ultra Prime back off, and there's no ult from WeiWei, but a worthy attempt, if I should say that, from Ultra Prime.
The wall was fantastic, honestly, trapping them in, but you just couldn't. You could see they were so scared to run past the Swain. And bear in mind, Bin and Doggo both have exhaust, so it's like Zoom didn't have good options there. Now we do have Elk with the 1-item spike and ShiauC with the mandate as well. This is a big spike for Lucian Nami, gives you a ton of burst. So if you can find someone who's isolated, Elk can dash in, Gale Force onto them, and just pop them. But I feel like they're not really finding the windows for now. The second Herald throwing down bot. Zoom trying to get some mileage here.
Elk is going to take 2v2 though with the help of ShiauC. Aqua Prison connects as well as Doggo. Arcane shifts out, but Elk takes his fair share, and Hacker now looking to help out. But WeiWei's not nearby, so Ultra Prime, while the Herald's going on, a net win for a team that was falling further and further behind.
Yeah, keeping them with arm's length. I think you kind of saw, though, even with the exhaust from Doggo, Elk really winning that short trade. So you can see the power of the Lucian Nami coming in, but still feels like too little too late. BLG putting some damage on this tower, but Cryin will do a good job of clearing the wave out. It's 2 minutes 30 on the next dragon. I think that is a pivotal thing to play around, because closer BLG get to that Infernal Soul, that the worse this game is going to go. Still at 601 Graves, and that is kind of a caveat you can put in here. A shutdown on a Wayway would make all the difference, I feel like, in this one.
But how do you get it at this point? Because again, Chris
you have to kill him.
There. Well, of course. But Aux, how do you get near Wayway? Because there's only a couple people that can survive the burst, the combo, unless it's a 5-man stack, unless it's a big pick from Ultra Prime with huge numbers advantage.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that BLG have done so well. And, you know, our criticism of them in spring was this team was slow, kind of inactive. They would overstay, trying to look for farm. A lot of these players were on previous rosters were the big carries, and we felt like they were more focused on playing their own game than playing as a team. Something even said by some people is that, like, they felt like a solo queue lineup. But the activity, the movement between this team has been so good this game. Crisp and Wayway working together as a unit so well. We see here, Wayway, Sonic Wave connects, but Crisp instantly there to back him up. And these two have been inseparable, it feels like, this whole game.
And that's why Ultra Prime know every time they walk into the jungle, it's with a bit of trepidation. Hacker having ShiauC behind him in a similar vein, but At this point, BLG controlling all bot side jungle. We're looking at top as Zoom seems to be the one who's furthest ahead. He's doing well in the solo lane, but FoFo now going to challenge him with Imperial Mandate. Won't really have that much damage, but I could be telling a lie with the first solar flare coming through, or at least the demon flare, as it's called. Dodging away, but still getting slowed down. FoFo will not chase any further, but you can see that he's starting to feel confident as well.
Yeah, had the exhaust from Spellbook, which is why I went for that play. Ultimately, though, the Swain with the Imperial Mandate, you are not that powerful in the 1v1. You really need a teammate to back you up. Get those procs, give the extra damage, give the movement speed. And so it's enough to force Zoom's ultimate, but he will just back away, burning nothing else. Now it's 30 seconds until that dragon. FoFo's ultimate, you can see it ticking away. It's coming up pretty soon. Zoom's is a bit longer. I feel like Ultra Prime, they don't have a good setup. Crisp and WeiWei have been playing so heavily in the enemy jungle. And with the Umbral Glaive, it's so hard to establish vision. ShiauC, he's the one who has to ward, and he'll just get popped instantly the second he walks up. So I don't know if they can even contest this. There's no ward to TP to. There's no access into the dragon. It should just be BLG grabbing it for free.
It'll be soul point, and we'll have ourselves the verge of a 26-minute soul as well. So still early enough for BLG when you consider that that is going to be a 3.5 item Graves by then. He's almost at 3 now with the Hex Drinker picked up. 60 CS difference as well. And honestly, with WeiWei picking up this dragon and BLG holding control, we're still expecting this to be a very calm BLG victory. Coming into today, we talked a lot about the competitive nature of Ultra Prime and versing BLG, but I think BLG have kind of answered some of our doubts in this first game and given us a lot to hope for in this series, considering that, their first series was honestly a bit scuffed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way they played it out was really fit. I have to admit, Hacker kind of gave WeiWei a freebie, but the fact they took that and completely ran away with the game, I think credit to them now. They could be looking for a play here.
They
Zoom
could
is on the
ShiauC. Bye, ShiauC! Yeah, Slice and Mouse want to come through, though, but they're looking for one man in particular, but WeiWei is out of there with his flash. No Nami, but a seismic shove makes it in Cryine's favor, but Bin dodging the damage with True Shot Barrage lining through. BLG, it's a 1-for-1, but we're still impressed at WeiWei blasting a hole through that fish as Elk is now looking to die as well. The damage close, but the ignite ticks over. Demon Flare again, but FoFo going gold, buying time, and here he is again. WeiWei on the top side, 2 shotguns to the face, and it's over. Thanks so much for the free kill, Hacker. 9-0-1. This is WeiWei's game.
And they're going to come over. Crispus respawn for the shielding to help them do this. Easily going to be able to take this Baron, and it felt like Ultra Prime looking for that initial pick, but weren't able to find WeiWei, weren't able to find the Graves. And that is the critical issue. We can see, durability patch me down. The supports just get absolutely nuked here. Gone. And then Crisp, not the one with the exhaust in the bot lane, gets eviscerated. But ultimately, a lot invested by Ultra Prime. We get the long re-engage, and the goal difference really shining in this one. Elk makes a massive mistake here. Gets caught by a great never move from FoFo. And then the extended fight, the stopwatch buying a lot of time. We talked a lot about the Nasus in the last series, but Doggo is the one who steps up here, doing a ton of damage really up close, and then WeiWei, he's just on cleanup duty.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Doggo feeling it as well. WeiWei is happy to pick up whatever scraps you leave behind. He's 9-0-1. He has another serrated Dirk. He's just picked up a Collector. He didn't even upgrade the Hex Drinker. He's 3.5 items strong. I said he would be that way towards Dragon Soul. But blimey, that's 196 CS Graves, 700
also,
kill bounty.
Look at the items from Ultra Prime. There's no armor. No one has any armor apart from Hacker has a chain vest. That's all they're working with. And that's a lot of lethality from that Graves. Remember, he has percentage pen from Eclipse too.
Ooh, Chris caught out. FoFo willing to take the trade though, but there's a kick from Hacker and FoFo's down. But here's WeiWei once again, who's already taken out Zoom. I didn't even see his health bar go. Kill number 10. And you're right, with no armor comes a lot of responsibilities against his Graves.
You were saying WeiWei with a Mafia Graves. I don't think this is a Mafia man. This is a magician. He just says, watch me make this champion disappear. And they're gone. Zoom didn't even get time to press his ultimate. I don't think he would have done anything, but you can see every fight is just like the fight starts, Ultra Prime try and find a pick, like this. Like this,
very nice. Seismic Shove comboed with the Aqua Prison. And for Ultra Prime, more of that, please. And Dragon might not be up, but it's picks like that that give you a little bit of hope if you're an Ultra Prime fan.
But the problem is they find the pick, right? But then they just don't want to approach WeiWei. He's 3 levels up on Hacker. 10-0-1, 206 CS. Yeah, it's like you could, if Graves is far enough away that he can't hit you, Ultra Prime can look for a play. But the second he starts to be able to auto someone, it's so scary. And now a minute 15 till Dragon. All those picks mean nothing other than some gold influx for Ultra Prime because everyone's going to be back on the map. There are going to be some summoners down though. Elk and Cryin, you have to think that flashes won't be up in time. Doggos might be. FoFo maybe a little bit behind. WeiWei should have his. But they have to win this fight. They give him Infernal Soul. I mean, I just want to hone in on Zoom because we see this initial fight. We were kind of focused on this before we saw it. What happens here?
Okay.
That's like an auto and a Q.
Oh my god. Well,
a lot of damage. A lot of damage.
It is. It is. And look, next item is gonna be Shadow Flame. So we aren't getting any armor from that man anytime soon. You're pointing out armor before. I still don't really see any apart from that chain vest. So he's gonna continue having a good time. And 20 seconds till that Infernal Soul comes up. Now that pick from Ultra Prime before was impressive. But they have to find WeiWei. You feel that if the jungler goes down, then maybe Ultra Prime have something to work with.
The problem is both exhausts are up. Bin has 2 items spike with the stopwatch. FoFo now has Rylai's and Mandate Great Spike.
Elk.
Don't do it!
Elk walking even nearby. That was a mistake. That was
my
just
Lord.
the last mistake he made.
He suspected it. He W'd the brush because he suspected it. You didn't need to go. And that should be enough for BLG to secure this dragon. We'll see if Hacker tries to steal. I feel like this is gone. It's game over. I mean, it honestly feels a bit overkill at this point for extra damage for WeiWei.
Steal?
Hacker might look.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Worthy attempt. We've got to give credit to Ultra Prime somewhere, Orcs, because this game has been a stomp through the early jungle advantage, through WeiWei, who is approaching a flame horizon in the jungle at 27 minutes into the game, or just about. He'll have his 4th, maybe almost 4.5 item when he goes back to base. WeiWei's level 15 to 12. The base is going to be burning soon enough, and the map is in so much turmoil against Ultra Prime.
And the thing is, as well, he's also nearly level 16. When he hits level 16, another rank in his ultimate. He's got Infernal Soul. He's going to be able to back and buy some extra items. We already saw him one-shot Zoom, right? He's just going to kill anyone he gets near for even like a split second. This feels like a rough one. I mean, I don't think I can really spin it any other way. This feels like a roughy toughy.
Yeah, nicely said. Now, let's get into more important matters. I will say the kill record in the LPL, I believe, is it's either 15 or 16. I casted the game last split.
It was the Viego one, right?
Yes, it was. Do you remember who it was? I'm not sure I do. But
was it Casa?
It could have been Casa, actually. And I believe it was either 15 or 16. Before that was Bo at 14. So right now, we're looking at WeiWei being at least, guys, 5 or 6, right? I'll try and find that out. So it was Bozo Life at 14 that was overtaken last split by, you're right, I believe it was Casa.
He's got the fully... Dude, look what happened in that camp. They just vanished. And he's 4 items, level 16. His ult does a lot of damage, 400 AD with Infernal Soul. You know, BLG can take this one slowly, but I kind of want to see WeiWei just blow some people up with his shotgun, in all honesty. That is what we're looking for in this game. Ultra Prime are looking for a comeback, but it feels difficult.
Yeah. Well, we're giving options. You know, that's what we do as casters.
And even...
We always tell them a way back in.
Even Doggo's got Edge of Night, right? FoFo's now got Zhonya's. Like, the targets you might be able to pick off, it's more difficult than you would think. WeiWei also with the more... You know, I think one thing is that it's clear that BLG have more damage, but these defensive options making it even more difficult to find windows.
Well, Ultra Prime, it's not stopping them trying, especially with Zoom, who has Flash and Slicing Maelstrom. I mean, this man is such a great team fighter. It was what we knew him from on JDG in 2020. Looking for that angle, pursuing something onto BLG. Ultra Prime, they're getting aggressive. They're just trying to get that one seismic shove, that one movement that pulls the game back near them.
Looking for a window. It's so scary, though, because like a Mystic Shot with the Infernal Soul will just chunk you so heavily. You can see now, going to start up the Baron. And sure, Ultra Prime no, but they've got such a long distance to move before they get there. They're so cautious about face checking anyone.
The damage on Baron from WeiWei is just enough, but they're moving away. Bin now wants his time in the sun. Needlework flies through, but Doggo cleans up the rest. FoFo over the wall, and Zoom tried, but what can you do against this massive Graves and his 4 best friends? Cryin not even going to get the kill over to Way, but you saw that WeiWei's damage was too much, and we're getting towards a conclusion that we had at about 10 minutes in.
Yeah, it felt like this game was done a long time ago. Hacker makes a pivotal mistake, and with this draft, you can't afford to be making mistakes when BLG will just look to outscale you, and that is what they've done in spring. They're a team who will go slow and steady and outmatch you. The fact that there's this Gwen as well, we kind of didn't talk about it, but Bin just showing up, starting that fight, doing so much damage, and the Nexus is going to fall. Pretty convincing game 1 from BLG there ultimately.
Easy game from WeiWei. That's Graves. That's Graves with the lead early on, and he took care of business. Nice to see him back in business on that note as well. Feels like for WeiWei, he was someone who, in 2019, we talked a lot about on the BLG roster. Or maybe, sorry, WeiWei. No, V5. V5 2020? V5 2020 summer. There we go. I got there. Was stellar player and was one of the reasons why V5 in summer went from 0-17 in 2020 spring to, you know, 5th or 6th place for summer. So, you know, kind of exciting to see him rising back to the occasion after he got the game on a bit of a platter.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you can say, okay, Hacker made this massive mistake, gave over those 2 free kills, but I think you have to give credit to WeiWei for taking that momentum and never letting up. And the fact he's on this farming jungler who's so strong in the skirmishes, the fact he was just one-shotting camps throughout the entire game, he really surmounted a substantial lead, and it just felt like Ultra Prime looked. I can't fault them because they did look countless times for opportunities, but they just never really came up. They were never really apparent.
Yeah, like, you know, there's not much more to say than what do you do when the enemy jungle's so far ahead. And remember, you know, it started with that cheeky little invade while we mentioned the skirmish, while we saw, you know, what happened between junglers. It was the invade that started off here from WeiWei on the bottom side, you know, giving a lot of security and setting up WeiWei for success.
And, you know, I'm going to give you a little tidbit, okay? There were 2 champions in this game, well, at least that I know of, that was 0-3 going into this game. 0-3 in the LPL, the split.
Oh, no.
It was Kennen, as you mentioned earlier, and it was Graves. So one of them was going to break that streak, and as we saw, the Graves now 1-3 so far. Not every Graves has had a game quite like WeiWei there. And what's surprising is that he didn't even do the most damage. I think the reason he didn't do the most damage is because every time he hit them, they ran out of health. Unfortunately, so not much window. You can only do as much damage as they have health, and WeiWei really feeling that one. But I mean, look at the goal difference over time. It just never felt like it came back in favor.
Yeah, 14 KDA. I mean, that's worth writing home about. And obviously, the vision score is something that also needs to be highlighted when you get Umbral Glaive. I mean, honestly, it's such a good art. The damage is already pretty decent, but the passive is just so good for competitive League of Legends. Like, honestly, 102 vision score at, what, 30 minutes into the game is pretty clean.
The thing is, as well, she takes Zombie Ward, and Zombie Ward, obviously, you get the wards that place down every time you clear something, but also you get stats. I think it's like you need to clear 10 wards, and you get like 30 adaptive force, I think it is. So easy to get that extra, those stacks in, and then just be able to be so much more powerful.
I mean, I wonder if he's going to get Graves in game number 2. For WeiWei, a great performance. Let's be honest. I called the Nasus MVP in game number 1. This one feels like it should be it, but we'll see. We're going to go to a break when we return, see if we're correct, and see what happens rolling into game 2.